So last time on 26 Weeks or Less, we talked about Balderdash, a PAX show that premiered in 2004. Now we're going to talk about its sister show in a way. Back in 2002, I was reading Steve Beverly's game show website, tvgameshows.com, and he talked about this show called On the Cover, which was going to be on TNN, or as was known back then, the National Network. It didn't get picked up because they were going to be doing another revamp, becoming Spike TV. In 2004, it was picked up for PAX, for the 2004-2005 TV season. And so, here's the question. Was the show worth the 2-year wait? Was it good enough to be on the air? Well, we're about to find out as we go on the cover.
Tonight's mystery cover considered becoming a missionary before teaching Spanish and Gaelic at a girls' school. Do you know who it is? Let's play On the Cover!
On the Cover had 2 debuts on PAX. 2 aired pilots that were broadcast over 2 days on May 17th and May 18th, 2004. The regular show debuted on August 8th, 2004. Hosted by Marcel Wahlberg of Russian Roulette and Antiques Roadshow fame, 3 contestants are quizzed on pop culture and entertainment trivia with magazine and DVD covers as the catalyst for the game. While it may seem interesting enough for a game, you'll see why one can't live on one gimmick alone. But one thing that you can live for days on end is a really good host, and we do have one in Marcel Wahlberg.
With your host, Mark
Thank you. Welcome to On the Cover. If you think you know pop culture, this is the show for you. We have 3 players. I've seen them but haven't met them, ready to test their knowledge. Let's meet them right now.
Marcel Wahlberg has had a long and fruitful career in television up to this point, working for Stone Stanley with Shop Teardrop as an announcer/sidekick and hosting Gonzo games and Free For All on USA, while also doing warm-up duties for multiple shows including Studs. He was always working, and that's admirable. What's also admirable is his hosting of this show. He handles the show about as deftly as he handled Russian Roulette, which is to say, really, really well. It's also the sign of a really good host that they could elevate a subpar game into something that could be worth watching. The Big Date would be proof of this. Absolutely. It wasn't that great of an idea in 1996, but he handled it well for the USA Network. Now let's talk about what I think is the subparness of everything else about the show. The first thing I want to talk about is the set itself. I can't help but feel that when people think about the stereotypical game show sets from the early to mid-2000s, On the Cover set ticks all those boxes. Dark set with mood lighting, big monitor with smaller monitors for display, random spotlights, and the like. I like to think that if you're dealing with a show whose hook is a light subject, i.e. pop culture, then you could do it with a lighter set. But like what a lot of celebs tend to do, this show's set was just chasing trends. Trends that, even by then, were getting old. Now let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay starts with one contestant being introduced and is thrust into a quick 15-second quick-fire round. They are shown a cover and what they need to identify. Each correct answer is worth 100 points, and this repeats for the other 2 contestants. It's quick, it's fine, and there are no issues. Round 2 is where it gets a bit interesting with the covers. Instead of identifying what's on the covers are used as categories of a sort. The contestant control picks a cover and Mark reads a question based on it. Each cover is worth 250 points plus an additional 250 points each time it's not selected. So there is some strategy where you might want to let a cover sit and accrue value until you want to go for it. It's fine, but this is where the show starts to lose it for me. You can replace the covers with category names and nobody would be the wiser. And instead turns what could have been an interesting idea and just to another 3-contestant podium quiz game. Round 3 has us going to the On the Cover newsstand to take a look at fake pun-filled magazine covers. These are used to give the contestants the 3 choices for the upcoming set of 5 questions. The first set is worth 500 points apiece, the second set is worth 750 points, and the last set is worth 1,000 points. Whoever has the most points after all of that is the winner. When I saw the pun-filled magazine covers, it finally hit me and where the show lost me entirely. This reminds me of Stone Stanley's Quicksilver, especially with rounds 2 and 3 of On the Cover. Quicksilver is another show of one hook that overused it to the point of meaninglessness, with the same generic for the time set and format as On the Cover has. I'll talk more about Quicksilver in a future 26 Weeks or Less. As for On the Cover, this round kind of makes the other rounds meaningless, since this is where the overwhelming majority of points can be made. The final round adds a twist to the first round. The champion is shown a cover with 9 spaces on it and in a random order. They are then given 20 seconds or 30 seconds, depending on when the show was shot, to do the same they did in the first round. But in this case, the 9 covers are numbered to correspond to the spaces on the mystery cover. So if you got the third cover right, the number 3 space would be removed at the end. After time is up, the spaces are removed, and the champ is given the clue and 10 seconds to identify the subject. If successful, they win a trip. Failing to do so wins a consolation prize. It's fine, but I kind of wish they'd done more than just rehash round 1. I know the pilot shows had a different endgame, but I haven't seen the pilot, so I can't judge. And that was On the Cover. To me, it's just a bland show with a bland set, with a good host, but a bland format, and it just drove that one gimmick into the ground. That alone would be a good answer as to why this show only lasted the 130 episodes that it had. But talking about PAX in 2004 and 2005, this is actually the real answer. In 2005, PAX was on its ass financially. The 2004-2005 TV season saw a gigantic throwing of stuff on the proverbial wall to see what would stick and could turn a profit. This was made evident after CTV in Canada decided to no longer fund production of Doc and Sue Thomas FBI. So you got one final season while Doc was outright cancelled. That season saw 7 new shows debut for the network. Balderdash and On the Cover are 2 of them, alongside shows like America's Most Talented Kids, Random Acts of Comedy, among others. None of the 7 shows moved the needle in a positive direction. By the end of the 2004-2005 TV season, the network would announce a rebranding as Independent Television. Along with that rebrand saw NBC given the option to purchase a controlling stake in PAX Communications. Because the option would have required NBC to divest from Telemundo and other networks, the deal fell through and Lowell Paxson stepped down as head of PAX Communications. In 2006, it was reported that the company was owing creditors $250 million, but the actual number was somewhere around $850 million, according to Standard & Poor's. The entire saga from this point to what ION is now is quite interesting, now if it be in the hands of the Scripps Networks. Check out the story and its history on your own time. It is really insane to think about what happened to PAX over the past 15 years. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of 26 Weeks or Less. I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane as we talked about Balderdash and On the Cover these past 2 weeks. If you have a show that you'd like us to take a look at for 26 Weeks or Less, leave a comment, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you really want to help us out and maybe fund more videos, go to patreon.com/GameShowGumbo. We use the money that we get to help purchase stuff for the home game. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the travel edition of Wheel of Fortune done by Tycho. That was bought by money through our Patreon, and we can't thank you enough for helping us out in funding more content. Well, that's going to do it for us. I'm Cindy Silent, and until next time, goodbye, everybody.